Well, good evening. Welcome to another edition, another webinar. It is the 4th of September, 6 o'clock in the evening. And if you could all just give me a yes if you can hear me, and you should be looking at the Forex Factory calendar. Evening, Jack. First in. Welcome. Vinco, evening. Hope everybody has had a great day. I have had another relaxing day. There has been virtually no chart time. There's been virtually nothing for me to look at. It's been pretty damn boring on the old trading side. Just as a reminder, we do have FOMC on Friday, so I'm not really expecting too much movement until next week. In saying that, the CAD has seen some movement today as a result of some news that was out. So I've got some yeses now, so you can all hear me and see the screen. And looking for Wednesday evening here on the Forex Factory calendar. We have no real news out this evening that I would be paying attention to. So going into tonight and tomorrow morning, the only thing I would pay attention to is at 1:15 we have some dollar news out. What else do we have? We have some more dollar news, crude oil at 4. And some Swissy news there if you're a Swissy trader. So not a great deal of news, really just waiting for Friday for the FOMC. So I'm going to move that out of the way. Move that to one side. Evening, Marcus. So we will run through the currency pairs as usual in order, starting with the Aussie dollar CAD. I will tell you guys from the outset again, I just have nothing on the radar. I haven't done for several weeks. If you do have something, please let me know. I'm quite happy to run through it, or any questions or any currency pairs. Other than that, we will bring over the Aussie dollar CAD. Let's see what's been happening here. It doesn't look as though we spoke about too much on the last webinar. I haven't got anything left on my charts. Let's go and take a look at the dailies. I really don't think a great deal has changed. Marcus, have you had any trades this week, today? Anything? Aussie dollar CAD. Well, very little has changed since we looked at this last evening. The only difference here is that we have seen a continuation move up to our higher level just here, like so. And just to draw out what we've done, we came down to this point, we saw a retracement, we came down again to this level, and now we're seeing a move up to this point. So I'm actually just going to clear this up a little bit. Marcus says no trades. Yes, nothing. Just drawing this out to see if we could potentially have a low and tight flag on the daily time frame. I'm going to have to load some more data here on the Aussie dollar CAD. So data series, we're going to put in 5,000, not 15,000. Take a full hour for that to load. We'll put in 5,000 candles. That should give us plenty of, that should give us 15 years of data. Vinco says in the pair is valid on Gartley on 240. We'll take a look at it. I didn't see a Gartley, but then again I haven't, if I'm completely honest. I've done a scan of the markets, Vinco. I haven't done a thorough check of the markets. There's just nothing really setting up for me. I had a couple of things as mentioned in the last webinar, the Aussie dollar. We never got the double top, so no trade there. Still looking for a Gartley on the Euro Aussie, but very little movement today. But when I drop down to the 240, we will take a look at it. So just while we're waiting for the Aussie dollar CAD to load, this could be a double bottom. It could also be a low and tight flag. And we do have a clear swing in the market here, and we have a, okay, that has now loaded. So let me just, no VS1. Okay. Vinco says, I haven't a good eye for advanced patterns, but I study them. It's the only way you learn. It's the only way you learn. Right. Just let me reload this. It loaded 14410 instead of 1440. But as you can see here, we could have a potential low and tight flag. It would be on the dailies, so I would have to use the 240 as the entry. And ideally, I would like something like a double top on the Aussie dollar CAD. That would give me a very safe place to hide stops behind if this is a valid low and tight flag. For the entry though, here on the dailies, I would need a red candle, and I wouldn't be able to enter this until that candle closes to confirm it is going to be a red candle. But again, this could be a double bottom, but we'll wait and see. Just wait, guys. Had a pretty relaxing day today. Not done a great deal, looked at the chart a few times, been out for a walk, done my usual exercise. Healthy body, healthy mind, all that kind of stuff. Okay, right, here on the dailies, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put two structure levels on, one at the close of the candles and one at the low of the wicks. This will give me a price reversal zone. Hey Pete. And what we're looking for, if this is a valid double bottom, we're going to be looking for it to come into structure. Now, if there's no structure there, by default, we can then look to see if this meets the rules for a low and tight flag. So we've got, oh dear, what's going on there? Get rid of those. We've got our two lines laid out. And if we go back around about 11, 12 years from the look of it, maybe a bit more, and we look for structure, we can see that we have this level, and this double top that was just here. Okay, so we have come into an area where we've seen a reaction in the past. Not very big reactions. You can see that price came all the way up, saw a pullback, and then continued on up, and then just here we violated, pulled back, continued lower, and then violated the other way, pulled back, and then continued higher. So it is an area that's seen a reaction, and as we zoom in here, this would actually now invalidate this as being a low and tight flag, which is a real shame actually, because it would have given us 1, 2, 3, and this would have been the fourth touch. And we could have looked at that 127 extension. Now, for me, that's only internal structure that we have looking left. Let's drop down one time frame though, and we'll see if there's a Gartley pattern there, or even something like a rotation pattern up within this kill zone, just here. And what I forgot to do was reduce it back down to 1,000 candles. It might take a minute to load, guys. Stuart, evening. Just saying I've had a pretty relaxing day, Stuart, Peter. Not done a great deal. There's no trades out there for me, and had a couple of things that we were looking at yesterday evening that didn't play out today, so been a pretty relaxing day. Have any of you two got any trades on? Anything that you're looking at? I know we've seen a little bit of movement on the CAD pairs, but for me, still nothing. Still nothing setting up. Oh dear, come on, hurry up and load. Okie dokie. Right, dollar CAD. Here on the 4 hour, you can see that we came up into that kill zone. We went just here, we went overbought, and we've put in a great big lower low, lower close candle. Now, I can actually see what Vinco is now looking at just here. So he's looking at X to A, A to B, B to C, and a CD completion all the way up here. Looking at that 127, and what a beauty, look at that. We came right into that 127 fib just here and rallied straight off it. Targets would have been the 382. Looks as though you could have already hit them, and you did. Vinco, nice eye. I didn't see it. But there we go, a very deep Gartley pattern, which taps the 127, went a few pips past it, and then rallied down to hit targets. And after front running, you would have banked about 40, 42 pips on that trade. Lovely, lovely eye. Well done, Vinco. Stuart says, not looked at the charts for about a week. They've been terrible. Just shocking. In terms of my trading, it's been terrible. And you know, guys, it feels like forever since I've actually had a win. It really does. Peter, nah, an observer mode as far as live trading goes. Yeah, there's just nothing that meets my rules. Nothing that meets my rules. But yeah, Vinco, well done. Now, if this is a valid low and tight flag for you, you've got a lovely lower low, lower close 240 candle there. Great big bearish candle. Indication, that's all it is, that we could see a continuation to the downside. So, guys, I forgot to remove my data series back to 1000. Let me see if I can do it now, or is it going to come up with an error? Damn it. Okay, gonna have to wait till that finishes again. Does anybody else have that problem with Ninja? I can load more than 1000, but the more I load, the longer it takes. I mean, I have 13 charts open all the time. I've got quite a fast computer, but still goes a bit slow when I tried to load more than, say, 2000 candles. Vinco, I was expecting a double top on the 60, but it is not valid. Okay, just let me go back and change this data series to a bloody 1000 before I forget again. There we go, 1000. Okay, templates, no VS1. Okie dokie. So on looking at this again, if this is a valid low and tight flag, okay, now just as a reminder, we've come into some internal structure there, but there is room to go to the downside while we're looking left. So let's just rework this out again, because it may be valid for some people. Okay, I've reduced it down to 1000 candles. Okay, if this is a low and tight flag for you, what we're looking for first of all is, are we in trend? So move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, move lower. Now technically we're not in trend, because just here we did just violate this outside return. However, you can see we are moving very directionally and in a trend-like fashion. We do have a swing in the market just here, and we have had the market adhere to this trend line. Once, twice, 3 times and 4 times, as per the rules, we would need a red candle. This red candle signifies that we got a structure hold and some form of a rejection up at this level. So this could either be a double bottom, it could also be a low and tight flag. Now, again, if this is a low and tight flag, you would be looking for targets at the 127 from the swing low to the swing high. And if you were to get involved with this trade right now, well, stops would go an ATR above the high, which is currently 56. Actually, that's an awful lot. But we'll try it. That will get us just above that 9100 psychological number. And targets would be down at this level. Personally, I think just half an ATR here would be absolutely fine. Unfortunately, there's no psychological number here to hide stops behind. There's no major structure level. But being a full ATR back on these low and tight flags is not something I do very often. And because this is quite a big trade, just half an ATR I think is going to be fine. So we're going to be looking at about 25. So we're going to make that 75. Okay. So this would be your risk. So it will give you a very nice reward to risk. Just make sure that your stop is above these highs. And your reward is going to be quite nice here. So if this is valid, you're looking at 78 pips of risk for a reward for about 156. Let's drop it down to the 240. And as mentioned, we do have structure being held up in this level just here with this great big lower low, lower close. Let's go and take a look at the 60. Did it provide a double top to hide stops behind? Oh, what a shame. This is what Vinco was talking about. He was hoping for a double top here. We never quite got it. Never quite got it, but that would have offered you a beautiful place to hide stops behind and also potentially wait for a pullback for a 26.18 trade. So if that is valid for you, then you have a lovely looking low and tight flag there. And for the Aussie dollar CAD, that would be a very big move of 156 pips. So I'm going to move that one out of the way. We will bring over the Aussie dollar, and I'll just give a shout out to Cody. I don't know if he's in here, but he bought up this big daily double bottom, and he's just hit targets for nearly 100 pips just up here, so well done to you, Cody. Personally, I was looking for a short. You can see that I still had drawn out where a double top could potentially be, and we didn't get it, so no trade for me. No trade for me. Okay, so what do we have then from the daily time frame? Let's have a look. Marcus says sometimes very slow to load. Peter, it seems to be worse on some time frames more than others. 240 for me, slower than others. Yeah, Ninja Trader sometimes is very slow for me too. Okie dokie. So for me personally, this wasn't going to be a double bottom, even though it was still valid. We'll just draw this out again. Structure level on at our very low here. We did not violate the lows, so we have no confirmation that we're going to go lower. However, I did say that because we are closing lower each and every time, and we were closing lower within this wick, this is an indication to me that we would break to the downside. Though I did say I had no confirmation of that, and I would need a conservative entry if this was going to be a valid triangle. Good grief, a valid triangle. Gotta stop these late nights. So we draw this out based on the closes of the candles like this, and we would have had 1, 2, 3, and right now you can see that we closed above this level, so this is no longer a valid triangle for me. This is more of an indication now that we're going to go bullish, and this is probably a double or triple bottom. So what we've seen here is we've seen a very directional move. And with that directional move, we have gone massively overbought here at 89. So we're running out of steam. By itself, the RSI doesn't mean a great deal, but if it comes into the tops of structure, which would be this level for me, this would be an area where we could look for a short. Now, what I am also noticing is right where we're trading right now, which is here, we have come into a psychological number, 6,800. That 6,800 has actually come into this structure level just here. Okay, so haven't quite got to the very tops of our structure levels, but we've come to this internal level at a psychological number with the RSI massively overbought after a very nice rally. So we could see a reaction here to the downside. If we drop one time frame lower, is it producing any type of short opportunity like a double top, a rising channel, a head and shoulders? And it's not providing anything like that. Instead, we have a trend. We have a new high and a pullback, a new high and a pullback, a new high and a pullback. In actual fact, we failed to make a new high at this point. So this is where we're at the moment, and you may look for a double top up here and a small reaction to the downside. If, however, you believe that we're going to rally on past that 6,800 level and you don't take the RSI into account, well, you can then look for a little trend continuation trade here. This would be the outside return. You can quite simply wait for a pullback to this zone, wait for a higher high, higher close, stops going ATR below the outside return, and look at playing for that higher structure level. Let's just go and take a look at the 15. And on the 15, we really don't have a great deal, guys. Not a great deal there. So for me personally, this would not be a trade I would take. We're at this internal structure level here. We're at a psychological number. We've got the RSI massively overbought on the 240. So even though there is a trend here on the 60, it would not be a trade I would take. We're already at that structure level. So if there's no questions, I will move this off to the side. If you do have any questions, just pop them in and I will bring that back over. But if not, we'll go back over to the Euro Aussie, guys. Euro Aussie. I'm not really going to do the full analysis on this one. I think we'll skip some of these currency pairs because some of them just haven't moved, like this one. In fact, all we've done today is this little bit just here. That's all we've moved. Pretty much at the same price that we were yesterday. So still holding for a potential entry on that Gartley pattern. A lovely double bottom or even head and shoulders. Down at the bottom here would be nice. Head and shoulders, typically we don't tend to get them on these advanced patterns, and the reason for that is that head and shoulders needs time these patterns need time for lower time frame head and shoulders to occur. So because this one is on the 240 time frame, it means that on the 60-minute or even the 15-minute we do have time for head and shoulders to start. So we may get something like this. And you can see that with all these retracements and extensions, this takes a long period of time for this to set up and play out. And that's why we tend to only get head and shoulders when we're dealing with the higher time frame, like the dailies or the 4 hour. Whereas a double bottom, just like this, we have a move lower, a little double bottom retest, and then we retrace. So the head and shoulders does need the bigger patterns for them to occur. So I'm going to move that one off to the side as well, guys. We're still going to be keeping an eye on that. See what happens with it tomorrow. And we will bring over the Euro Yen. And this is what we've been looking at on the Euro Yen. Actually, was this the currency pair that hit the targets? Yes, it was. Okay. So let's just delete this information off. And what we were looking at yesterday was a potential retracement into this boxed area, this wicked area, and looking for a potential double top. And you can see we've actually broken above that area now, so the first chance entry would no longer be valid. And for me, I would not now be interested in shorting the market unless we came up to this level and it gave us another conservative entry. So let's go and do the full higher time frame analysis on this. Structure level on at the closes of the candles at the very lows, and you can see we have not come down into that area, so there is room here for the market to come lower. Right now, however, we are seeing a bullish day and we're seeing a reaction at this 1/1600 psychological number. Let's just draw out what the market has done. We saw a move lower, a pullback, a move lower, a pullback, a move lower to this point, a pullback, and another move lower. So as we drop one time frame lower, we can actually see that the outside return is this entire area just here. So you could actually wait for a lower low, lower close candle within this zone. You can see that the RSI currently we're at around 77, 78, and we could be tipping the oversold mark. Now this is going to be a very large trade actually. If you were to get a lower low, lower close here, stops would need to go 1 ATR above the outside return, and that's currently 30 pips, guys, so it's going to make 48ish around there. And you can either look for target ones being a retest of the lows, or you can simply look for the extension. Now I think this trade is going to be over my maximum, 121 pips. Yes, it is. And so this would not be an opportunity I would be able to take just now. Let's go and take a look on the lower time frame though. Let's go to the 60. What would be nice to see would be some form of conservative entry. So here are the wicks right here, and within the wicks is where we look for those rotation patterns. And if we zoom in, okay, we have actually, I think we have closed above the wicks. Okay, so we'll bring over the data box. So here are the wicks, and we're looking for, okay, what was the close? The close was 117.18. The close was The close was 117.21. Yeah, 117.18. 117.18. Okay, so we did actually just get a structure hold just here, a hold of the wicks. We did not close within the candle bodies, so if we were to get a double top here, it would still be valid. And if we look at the RSI, we can see that we had the RSI confirmation as well. We went overbought here at 85, so you could still look for a double top up here. For me personally, I would wait for this to be a confirmed double top, so we would need a confirmed violation of this level. This would then give me nice tight stops above this zone, and I could then look for playing for targets back down at this level. So back down here for target ones, and then holding secondary targets just down at this level. So it's a waiting game, guys, just waiting to see if we do get some sort of valid double top up here. Let's go and look at the 15. Don't think the 15 is going to offer us too much. No, you can see that we've actually violated up here on the 15. So we will take a look at this tomorrow. It may be that it produces something within the night, but unfortunately there's only an internal level of structure here. There's no psychological number. Do we have any fib confluence from our swing high to swing low? Well, it has actually come into a 61.8 fib. Do we have anything else? Swing high to swing low. Almost coming to a 382 as well, but not too much there, guys. Any questions on the euro yen? If there is, throw them in the chat. Move that one out of the way. The Aussie dollar CAD, guys, is that a trade that anybody is looking to short? The big daily potential low and tight flag. Is that an opportunity for anybody? Vinko says the structure does not start higher. 117.30. 117.30. Well, if we're looking at, if we're still talking about the euro yen, Vinko, then we look for rotation patterns typically within the wicks. Certainly double tops and double bottoms will look within the wicks, and head and shoulders usually form within the wicks as well. So that's what I was looking for within this zone. 117.30 would be this next level just here. So you could, within these wicks, also look for another rotation pattern. There's no problem with that. The double tops and double bottoms can occur absolutely anywhere. It usually just happens within the wicks. Now there's no definitive structure level here, but this would be the first area that I would look at. If that's a no-go, then this would be the next level. But again, if you pay attention to the RSI, we are currently overbought, so if you did get a double top here, it would be valid. Okie dokie, that's the euro yen. Let's move it out the way. Euro New Zealand. I don't think this is worth doing. No problem, Vinko. Yeah. Any questions? Just chuck them in. Make the webinar a little bit interesting, because again, I'm really just going over stuff that we've been over here. I'm not even going to look at the euro New Zealand, guys. It's terrible, terrible. Euro dollar. Okay. So we said that we could have, or we do have here, a butterfly pattern, and we could see a move up to this 382 level. And when we last looked at this, we had a double bottom here, and we said that this is a rotation pattern that was confirmed, but what we did not do is violate the outside return. And I was hoping to see an initial structure high, then a pullback, and that would have allowed us to get an entry. But instead what we did is we just carried on the rally all the way up to this zone. So it has put us in trend, and we have seen a new structure high now. What we can look for is some sort of pullback. Now, what I do like about this is this internal structure level just here. Pullback. And we've made another new structure high. And we can quite simply wait for another pullback. This would be the outside return just here. and we would be allowed to drop one time frame lower to the 15 and look for our entry based on the first chance, second chance or third chance entry. So first chance would be just here within the wicks. We would need a double bottom. Well, we're not going to get one here. Second chance entry would be a higher high, higher close within the candle bodies themselves, so within this zone. Or the last chance entry would be within the wicks down here. So because this is on the 15 and we're 6:30 in the evening, for me this is probably going to play out within the night, but quite simply you're going to be looking for a retracement, a higher high, higher close, stops go 180R below the outside return, and I would simply just hold this then, guys. Let me go back out to the 60. I would hold it and take your profits at that 382 fib, which is just here, and there may be around 30 pips up for grabs on that trade. Unfortunately, this was a nice looking opportunity, but it didn't give us the retracement. But just because we never got the optimum entry doesn't mean that we can't still get involved with the trade. We've got a butterfly pattern, we've got a rotation pattern which was down here. We had an initial structure high, a pullback, a new structure high, and we've now entered in trend. So this would be a nice opportunity here in the 15 to get involved, probably around 20 pips for about 30, something like that. So if you're awake or you trade when I'm asleep, you have an opportunity on the euro dollar. Any questions on that one, guys? Let's take a look at, I think a few people were looking at the pound yen within the chat. Let's go to the 60. Okay, so this is what we drew out on the last webinar. The double bottom, I think it was on the dailies that we looked at, and you can see we've had a continuation higher, and I said that you can wait for a violation of this level. We'll give you another new structure high, a pullback and a chance to get long, potentially up to this previous structure level up here. So let's do the full higher time frame analysis here. And by the way, did anybody get involved on the pound yen? It was way too big for me. We looked at this being a double bottom. It did come into structure. We did have divergence, and we said that we could see a pop here to the upside. We could certainly see a move up to this level. I think it was about 600 pips up for grabs here when we looked at it. Yeah, 630-ish pips. As we drop down to the 240, we are seeing nothing but bullish movement today. Lots and lots of bullish movement up into this level. The RSI has not gone overbought, and we have not reached the highs of our structure level up here. So when we reach this level, you could look for a small counter trend move, though bigger picture, guys, this for me is a valid double bottom, and we are going to see that move higher up into this level. Now what we do also have, if it's valid for you, is a head and shoulders left. There's the head, pull back, came down for a retest, and we're going higher. So we could actually here, guys, see a move up to this point and a pullback. Now that would mean that it would give us a head and shoulders, and we could see a retracement into the left shoulder just here within the wicks. And if we get a retracement there, I'm going to be looking for a rotation pattern. So double bottom, another head and shoulders, that will allow me to get relatively tight stops. First target would be a retest of the high. Second target I would be holding for this higher structure level. So that is a potential, probably not going to happen until next week, but I will be paying then close attention to the pound yen, and as I say, even potentially could look tomorrow for a small counter trend move up here, maybe down to this structure level, something like that. Let's go and take a look at the 15. Nothing here, guys, to be honest with you. If you're looking at getting long, well, then you had a move higher, a pullback, a move higher, a pullback into previous structure, and if you get another move higher here, you can again look for a pullback and a chance to get long. So there is the potential there for the market to still go a little higher. So pretty much one for me next week. I'll be keeping an eye on a pullback, as I say, to the left shoulder and a potential long opportunity there. That would be a very large trade if we could get involved with it. Pound dollar, guys, look at the relief we've been having today. Okay, we've been seeing lots and lots of bullish pressure. Let's go on and look at this on the daily time frame. So structure level on at our very low, which was just here, and you can see we came into it, and today we've seen lots of bullish movement going down to the 240. Unfortunately, it just isn't producing any type of trade. This is just a directional move higher. We have not come into the tops of our structure level. Even though this is a structure hold on the dailies, I don't know how high we can actually go here. We've seen quite a nice reaction at this 1-2000 psychological number, and we could see a continuation up to this level. Down to the 60. Okay. This within the night could offer you an opportunity, a move higher, a pullback, a move higher, a pullback, and if you see a move higher here, you could wait for a pullback anywhere within your outside return and look for a long opportunity, potentially up all the way up to this 12300 psychological number. So that is the potential. Let's take a look at the 15. Yeah, not too much on the 15. So I would pay close attention to the 60. I do think that we could see a continuation here up to this higher structure level, and there could be a good 90-ish pips up for grabs there, but this will likely happen within the night. If not, I will be looking at this. I will be looking at this tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow's Thursday. Okay, plenty of time to get in this trade and potentially hit targets before Friday, before the FOMC. So that's an opportunity. We'll take another look at it tomorrow. You would need a confirmed break above close above this level and the pullback. Okay, pound dollar, guys. If you have anything on that one, please let me know. Okay, what else is worth a look at? New Zealand yen. Nope, that's barely moved. Nothing on the New Zealand dollar. Okay, we'll take a look at the dollar yen. Guys, if you have any currency pairs you would like me to take a look at, please let me know. I'll only go through a few more currency pairs. Again, I think just like pretty much everyone else, I just don't have anything on the radar. This is just junk. It's just consolidation. Nothing at all for me. Let's go down to the 240. We'll see if there's any trend lines, see if there's any advanced patterns, breakout patterns. Okay, we do have a structure level like this, where we've seen 1, 2, 3, just 3 tests, and along here we failed to go up and retest that higher level. In actual fact, let me redo that. We've got a wick there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Yeah, we can adjust that structure level down to the closes of the candles just down here. So this is a level where we've seen 7 tests in the past, and each time we've seen a reaction. As we come up to that zone, we could again see a reaction. The question is, would we see a big reaction to the downside? Would we only see a small reaction before we violate to the upside? And again, this is just consolidation. I've got no trend, I've got no advanced pattern, I've got no breakout pattern, I've got no indication as to which way the market is going to go. So if I were to get involved with a trade, it would be right up in these highs. It would only be a rotation pattern. like this. That's a shocking double top. And a small move to the downside. Okay, that is all I would be looking for on something like this. But it is a structure level that's been tested 7 times. Let's go and take a look at it on the 60. Right now here on the 60, did that pattern hit targets? Nope. Okay, we do have an advance pattern here. We have a back pattern. We have X to A to B, B to C, CD completion up at the 886, and as you can see, we have not come down to hit 382. We've come close. We've come within 2 pips of that 382. So for me personally, if I was involved in that trade, I would have moved to break even. And I would no longer be looking at getting involved with this trade, because we've technically come close enough to my targets for the trade to have made its move. So that is no longer valid for me, but if it's valid for you, that is still at market. And just nothing, no trend lines. Well, you could, I personally wouldn't, but you could make the case for a trend line there. But you're really scraping the barrel here, guys. Let's go and take a look at the 15. Yeah, nothing there for me on the 15. So unless there's any questions on the dollar yen, I've got nothing until we come up to this zone and potentially get a double top. What's happening with the dollar Swissy? There was a Gartley pattern on this the other day. I actually think it's hit early. Yeah, we never quite came up to the 127 up here, and as you can see now, price has rallied down to hit targets. That would now invalidate that trade because it's already hit its projected targets. We'll do the high time frame analysis on the dollar Swissy, guys, and then we'll take a look at the dollar CAD, because that's seen a move today of about 100 pips, about 80-ish pips, something like that. We'll take a look at that, and we'll call that the last couple of pairs. Again, I don't think there's going to be a great deal in the morning, so we may do another webinar tomorrow evening at 6 usual time. But if there is something good tomorrow morning, we'll do it in the morning. But I will send out a notification. So dollar Swissy, what have we been doing here? So okay, move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, move lower, pull back, move to this level. Okay, so we retested down here. We failed to make a new low, so I cannot look for any trend continuation opportunities anymore. Let's go to the 240. And just to draw out our pattern, X to A to B, B to C, CD completion was up here. And that trade has now hit early. And that means, to be honest, guys, there's absolutely nothing here. Absolutely nothing here now. Let's go and take a look at the 60. On the 60, you had a move lower. You may have had an opportunity to short the market there on the 15. We'll take a look at that. Let's drop to the 15. Problem we have right now is that we've now come into this lower level of structure right here. So on the 15, no, it was not valid. Nope. Marcus says he was looking at this but was not valid. Yeah, it wasn't valid. Marcus is absolutely correct. 1, 2, and then we broke to the downside. Pole wasn't quite good enough. What I was looking at is typically when we get one low and tight flag, it's a sign that we're moving directionally or we're entering a trend. And when we get one, we tend to get more than one. And it may not just be a low and tight flag, it may be a standard flag, but that's where we start to see these breakout patterns. And I was going to look down here to see if we had one, but we're at previous structure, so it wasn't valid anyway. Delete. Nothing on that, guys. And I'm going to make the dollar CAD the last one. Make this the last one. You can see we've had some movement here. Nice to see some directional movement. Looks as though today it's moved around 100 pips. Anybody get involved in the dollar CAD? Let's have a look. Stuart says, I've been told the markets to be kind to you next week, Chris. You can thank me later. I'll thank you at the end of the week when I see the pips coming in. It's just been a nightmare for me. Absolute nightmare. I'm handling it well, those guys. If you allow it to stress you out, you then end up taking bad trades. You then take trades that you shouldn't. You then end up sabotaging, and before you know it, you really are digging yourself a hole that you cannot get yourself out of. Now, I'm in a pretty damn big hole as it is, and I really don't want to make it any bigger by taking trades that I shouldn't. And I've pretty much almost every trade I've taken I've been completely happy with over the past couple of months or so. I have just literally never seen as many losses. But also, guys, if you remember, I've had about 700 pips of trades that have just stopped me out by a couple of pips. And that's where my drawdown has come from. Other than that, I'd be at break even for 2 months, which has never happened before either. So my drawdown typically 2-3 weeks at most. Certainly nothing like this. Again, just to clarify, am I worried? No, it's a lot of pips that I'm down, but am I worried? No, because I've made significantly more than that over the years, and we're in unusual times. And when I look at the reasons for it, well, a lot of the trades were just stopped out because the market moved more than usual. So I'm quite happy with the way things are. Marcus says, nope, sorry, Stuart says, haha, I'm good like that. Will the markets listen? Probably not. Marcus says, dollar CAD daily, 2 nice pin bars at structure, but can't trade daily charts. So let's do the high time frame analysis. Get a bit of perspective here as to what has happened. Is there a trend line here? Well, you can make one. It's not very nice, but you have 1, 2, and what happened is the market broke to the downside. What did we then do? We came up and hugged. Did we have any RSI confirmation? Yes, on the first test we went overbought with divergence, a sign that we could see a bearish move, and that's exactly what we did, guys. We hugged this level once, twice, 3 times, and boom. My projected move is going to be all the way down at this level, guys. All the way down to here. Was there an entry based on the 240? Something nice like a double top or a beautiful head and shoulders that I missed? No, there was not. There was not, guys. There was absolutely no reason here for me to get involved with a short opportunity. Other than the fact that we'd been hugging that trend line, there was nothing to tell me that we could see a big short opportunity here. Let's go and take a look at the 60. Well, here on the 60, you do have a head and shoulders. So head and shoulders is a pattern, and what that means is we typically see a swing in the market. So we see an impulse leg like this. So we see a move higher, a pullback, a move higher, a pullback, and right here would have been the left shoulder for me, or you could have taken this as the left shoulder and boom to the downside. Let's take a look at the 15. That head and shoulders did not offer any type of entry for me. No. Just let me go back to the 240, guys. Just want to check something. Where's my trend line? Okay, there's my trend line. Now, if I was to move that trend line up like this, look here guys, okay, it's on the closes of the candles here, and just look here as well, okay. Look at what we did with the trend line. We held the trend line structure. So as I then dropped one time frame lower, this would have been a valid head and shoulders, but again, there was no way to get involved with it. If this was the left shoulder just here, well, it didn't offer an opportunity. If this, sorry, the right shoulder, if this was the right shoulder, it still didn't offer any opportunity to get involved. So nice to see that a structure was held. We'd hug structure on the structure on the 240. We'd had multiple tests. We did see a head and shoulders, but it offered no opportunity to get involved. My projection is that we are going to see a big old move to the downside here. Now, if we carry on this directional movement here, this momentum, particularly if we violate this level of structure here, which would be the key level for me, I would wait for a pullback and a chance to get short. And I would then likely move my stop to every outside return until we'd gone down to hit targets or I was stopped out. So this is an opportunity to look out for going into tomorrow, Friday, and even into next week. Stuart says you'll be seeing more of me on the platform next week. There's not been much of me either, Stuart. There's just been absolutely. I don't like to waste my time. I've obviously I've got a couple more businesses, and I may have to go back to England, and I'm pretty busy with other things as well, and there's just no need for me to spend time looking at charts that are not moving, looking at something that won't make me any money when I can be doing other things. And other things also include like relaxing, enjoying myself. I've just come back of a holiday. I'm in the position where I'm quite fortunate where I don't have to work if I don't want to. I obviously have things that I have to do, but I'm really pushing the fitness thing at the moment. I'm working on the six-pack, and I'm not talking about cans of beer. I want my body back that I had in my early 20s. I used to do a lot of the gym. I used to be very much into my fitness, into running, into cardio. I used to have a great body, and I'm sure that's why the wife married me. But now I don't anymore. And you guys know I've got problems with my hands and neck, and I'm really, over the past 6 weeks or so, been pushing the fitness out there because my neck has started to play up again, and that's almost back to being normal now, but it's taken weeks and weeks. And what really caused that problem was spending so much time creating the website, the signals, and doing the videos, and I'm spending a lot of chart time, and so instead of me wasting my time, I've just really been spent at the gym, getting fit, doing lots of swimming, getting myself back into the 20-year-old body that I once had. I'm 39 this year, so it doesn't quite look the same as when I was 20, but you get the idea. Mikkel, because of missing out by a few pips on a number of trades, would you review your stop loss? Yes, and we spoke about this actually a few weeks ago, about potentially putting the stop further back. Now here's the thing, when I did all my back testing, a 180R stop was pretty much correct for me in every type of trade that I did. So whether it was trend continuation, a counter trend using say a double top, or whether it was a head and shoulders. However, there were certain strategies like a flag pattern. But let's take a low and tight flag, for instance. If there was a psychological number, I only need to go 10 pips behind it instead of an ATR. If we have a flag pattern, we sometimes get a retest before the breakout, so I can reduce the stop again. There's lots of things that I can do, but typically a 1 ATR stop was the maximum I ever needed. And there was no reason for me to change that. Let's put things into perspective. Okay, I've personally seen a few months of real bad trading. Does that couple of months worth of bad trading affect the 7 years worth of back testing that I did? And the answer is no, it doesn't. It's just 2 months where we've seen my stop loss just get tapped out, and it's resulted in quite a big drawdown. And that's why I'm not too worried about the drawdown, because realistically, we saw bigger moves than normal. A lot of them were as a result of unscheduled news events, and there is absolutely nothing I can do about those. If I had have increased my stop loss over the last couple of months, yes, I'd be 700 pips ish better off, but it wouldn't be a full 700 pips, because all the trades that lost would have lost for more. So it's at this stage, it's not enough confirmation to say the market, that a single ATR stop loss is no longer big enough. So no change for me at this time. Are you building a time machine? I'm trying to, I've stopped eating bread, rice, anything that's full of carbs. Don't drink. Stopped eating crisp. Crisp is quite a bad thing that I do. I do like a bag of crisps a day, and I've just reverted to fruit, so apples, oranges, and really just doing a lot more in terms of the fitness, a lot more walking, although that's quite difficult. As I told you guys, I almost broke my toe, and then I pulled all the tendons in the same bloody leg. Shirt says, you've worked so hard over the years, so enjoy the weekend. Yeah, and I'm quite fortunate that I don't need to work if I don't want to. That's the thing. But I enjoy working. It's the only reason. Well, I set up this company was to help my trading and to others as well. To help others as well. Jack says, "Good luck." Is that good luck with the fitness? I'm going to keep at it. I always used to be in great shape. I used to be up at 6 every morning at the gym before I went to work, and I used to love doing that. You used to feel pumped for the day, you used to feel dead energetic, and it wasn't just for your body, it also helped with your mind. It helped you to think clearly and positively and just have a good outlook on life. So and that ties in, that I'm very up on that trading isn't just about learning how to trade, it's really about psychology and your mindset. Peter says he's just come off of 6 months of eating only meat and water. Great for anxiety, but I became numb to emotion. Feelings are like the markets. They need the highs and lows like the yin and yang. Absolutely. We cannot be robots. We cannot be robots. We have to learn to deal with the emotions, not just brush them under the carpet, but I believe a full understanding of them. How they work, how they affect you. You can then know whether or not you're having what I call triggers, which is basically when you're going to do something you shouldn't. So you're just taking a big loss, you've realised it's a trade you shouldn't have done, and then you go straight back into the trade and buy it up because you want to earn the pips back that you should not have lost in the first place. That was a trigger, and you should have realised that, and in realising it, you then are less likely to go ahead and do that revenge trade. So understanding psychology, I think, is quite key to trading the markets, or at least as a minimum it's very helpful. Very helpful. So guys, dollar CAD will be looking for shorts if we violate this level and we continue this big bearish run. I would even drop down to the 5 range, which I'll do just now, and look for aggressive shorts. I'm going to see on the 5 range if this did offer any aggressive shorting opportunities. Well, not too much, to be honest with you. No, not too much there that I would be able to take, but going into tomorrow, keep an eye out. Here on the 60-minute, we've gone massively oversold at 6.6. Oh, look at that, guys. We've come into this lower level of structure. We've gone massively oversold. It's dropped to the 15. You could look for a small rotation pattern. Is the RSI oversold? Yes. So right here, guys, after a big run, you could see a double bottom here. This will probably happen in the night as well. Is that all 3 trades that I'm looking at probably going to happen in the night? So double bottom there, and you could look for a retracement. As a minimum, I would look up here. or you could even look for a 382 fib, which would bring you a little higher. There could be a good 37, 40 pips up for grabs there, but again, that'll happen in the night for me. But we'll come back to it tomorrow and see if see whether or not it did produce a double bottom. So guys, that's the end of the webinar. If you do have any questions, now is the time to post them in. We just have a quick last scout around. There's just nothing to look at. So guys, thank you for joining me. I will be in the chat tomorrow morning, and again, if there is nothing and we're just dribbling like we have done today, then I will do the webinar tomorrow evening. Apart from that guys, enjoy your evening. Take care.